Welcome on in. It's another edition of the Clap Your Hands podcast presented by Coors Light. Jack Frtitz, Eliot, Shorr-Parks, and James Jackson hanging out a day before the NBA draft. Get excited!
Ready?
I tell you what, we were breaking down a lot before the pod.
We were.
Mostly about Olivia Rodrigo, Sabrina Carpenter, and
you guys were keeping me hip.
High School Musical, the musical.
Some are saying it's the biggest musical beef of the year.
Yeah, I would say above Drake and Kendrick.
Yes, exactly.
Even though, why is Drake rapping along to the song at his own shows now?
I don't think that's a real video.
What do you mean?
What do you mean it's not a real
It's a
video?
real song.
No. You're talking about the video of Drake rapping.
To BBL Jersey.
Okay,
yeah.
I thought it was to the "You're Not One of Us," whatever.
No one.
You're not one of us.
You are not one of us.
That's what it's called, right?
No, it's not.
Well, it's something
Not like us.
Not like us. Yeah. Something.
I almost said no one likes us because
I was very open at the beginning. We talked about this. I'm too old for rap beef now. I said that on the last.
But
podcast.
you're not too old for Sabrina Carpenter versus Olivia Rodrigo.
Title of
I
the
know what
pod
to
is,
tell you. Yeah.
You are not one of us.
Yeah.
Simply put, you are not
Well,
one of
people
us.
do say that about us with basketball. So
Yeah,
You are not one
Dude,
of us.
that fits
Because here's the issue.
That's my phrase for next season. You're not one of us.
I was talking to our good friend Spike Eskin on the drive-in.
Yes.
And we were talking about the problem with NBA coverage.
Okay.
Is not enough people just want to talk hoop.
Yeah.
And
Which is interesting because he hates JJ for wanting to talk hoop.
exactly. So that's too high level hoop talk.
Yeah, okay, so
he wants to
mid-level.
bring it down somewhere in the middle for the common man.
Right.
And
That's what I'm very good at.
yeah, you are the common man's common man.
Yes.
So Eliot and I, we decided, and James Jackson obviously actually watches college basketball.
Yeah, he actually goes to college
Yeah,
basketball
What
games.
a loser.
Actively participates in college basketball.
Yeah. That being said, we have our big board.
Yeah. So last night after the Phillies game, I had to do post game.
Yeah.
And I was like, I could go to bed or I could start breaking down NBA draft prospects.
So good.
And it was about 12. It was probably 11:45 to about 12:30. I was breaking down draft prospects
Nice.
last night. And before we get into our respective big boards, I just got to say, it's not that hard evaluating. You can tell if a guy can play in the NBA or not, just by watching them for 5 seconds on Twitter.
1,000%.
It's not that hard.
I think if you give me 3 minutes of a player's highlight, I can tell you exactly what they'll be. Without question.
Now, just if they can play in the NBA or how good they're going to be.
So I have-
That's
you
different.
got to have a little bit of foresight, and I don't think that's that hard either. You guys see how a guy's going to translate. If a guy's a little bit slow to release the basketball, he'll work on that.
Yeah, it's teachable.
It's teachable. It's teachable.
So I actually think when I watch guys within a minute and a half, I can tell if they're a dude or if they're just a role player. I can tell right away. And I think in this year's draft, I have 4 definite dudes and then 1 potential dude.
So I
What's
think
a dude? Define
Just like a
dude.
guy. You can give the
Define what that is.
what's
just guys being dudes.
Hey, what's a dude? A guy.
A guy, yeah. It's like
a
a guy
guy.
that you can give the ball to in the final few minutes and I think can get you a bucket.
go.
It's
Okay.
a bucket boy,
You
but
need
I'm
to have that
right, but I'm referring to it more as just that guy's a dude. If you're watching pickup, you'd be like, well, that's clearly the best guy. That's my standard.
Well, and I think this draft just a couple months ago when I was on my they should just tank to get a higher draft pick, people would throw on my face, well, it's a bad draft.
Bad draft.
And what I would argue now after, again, extensive research is there's a lot of NBA players where the Sixers pick.
I agree.
Just NBA quality role. There's a lot of better versions, hopefully, of Thibault. Thibault was when they drafted him, it was okay, that's an NBA body. He can shoot.
I agree with you on this. I would say 2 things. And one, I know you said on the air yesterday, I don't think for myself, but if we can move on from that, I think that I do think the draft is a good chance where people can prove if they can think for themselves. Would you agree with that?
What was my basis off of that?
Because I said something bad
the
about Harper
thing. Yes. You sent incriminating evidence against Bryce.
Yes.
But it was not the at-bat.
It was not the at-bat. So I was wrong in that instance. Thinking for myself went wrong there. But I do think I do think the draft.
Yes.
Because to your point, everyone's it's a bad draft. Everyone watch these guys and think for yourselves. This honestly, this is what happened with my Noah Vonleh tweet, which will Embiid a few,
Sure.
that gets retweeted quite a bit.
Yeah.
Everyone should be brave enough to have their own opinions on draft guys. So I looked at all these guys and a lot of the ones that are projected to go in the top 4, I'm not that big on.
Sure. No,
The center from France wouldn't take him. Yeah.
I didn't even waste
easily
my time.
5 guys. I'm same.
If I was the Sixers, no. The Hawks, that intrigues me.
No way. I think the
SARS kid.
The best player in the draft is Isaiah Collier.
Again, I didn't. He might be going where the Sixers are picking.
I know. I think he's the best player in the draft.
Interesting. Is he your number one guy?
He's my number one. He's my number one guy on my big board.
I didn't look at Isaiah Collier. I've heard good things.
Really? Oh, I was hoping.
Well,
to
because
talk
here's
to you
my
about it.
problem.
I'd be curious to know you looked at if you didn't look at Isaiah Collier. I also watched some Bronny tape. I have a Bronny.
Yeah, I kind of felt like he was too short.
All right, we'll talk about him when we get to him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I actually think as we get, let's just dive right in.
Well, can I drop one draft take?
You
Before
can give me one draft take, and then I think we should both release our number one guy on our big board.
Well, I already released mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay.
We'll tease
that's
it.
what happens.
Maybe I'll change my mind in the next.
That's
10
what
minutes.
happens when you don't plan a podcast.
That's a good point. Your sheet is empty besides big board. So I think it was
Not much to get to.
all right. So the draft is Wednesday night. I will.
Thank you.
yeah.
That's a
Just
big
3 guys talking hoops.
just hoop. Just
Yeah.
hoop.
Just guys talking hoops.
I would be the happiest if the draft ends Wednesday night and they keep the pick and they take somebody.
Me too.
So I actually think, and you'll be on board with this, because you are big into you want guys that want to be Sixers, guys that were drafted here, guys that come up in the system, guys that they develop. I don't get the feeling any of these free agents want to come here. Like, could Paul George come here? Sure, if things don't work out and the Clippers don't pay him. Like, but I don't know. Do I want to give $200 million to somebody that I don't think I was their number one choice? Could Jimmy Butler come here? Maybe if the Heat don't pay him. If I draft someone at 16, that guy's going to be pumped to come here. He is going to be brought up with the Sixers. And I really think that when you talk about like this team, and this comes back to the Embiid thing, I want to get someone for Maxey. If they draft Isaiah Collier or, there was another guy I really liked from Maxey, or Bub Carrington, Terrence Shannon Jr. we'll talk about. But like one of these guys that in 5 years could be Maxey's running mate for the next 10 years. That's what I want. If you look at the Sixers draft history, so I went back and I looked at the Sixers draft history.
Did it make you almost tear up a
terrible.
little bit?
So 2021, Springer, gone. 2022, Roddy, gone. 2023, no first round pick. 2024, they're probably going to trade the pick. 2025, they don't have a first round pick. If you go back even further, 2016, Ben Simmons, good pick, but gone. Fultz, gone. Bridges, gone. Some guy named Jerome, I don't even remember, in 2019, gone. Like, there's a shot they go from the 2016 draft to the 2028 draft and end up basically selecting 3 players, one of which is Maxey.
Yeah, and like Paul Reed counts as a pretty good draft.
Right. And if you look at the teams that win NBA titles, the Celtics drafted Tatum and Jaylen Brown. The Nuggets.
Well, and they made smart trades. I mean, like...
No, I'm saying the top guys on the teams that win titles are guys they drafted.
Yeah, but at the same
Nuggets,
time...
that was the case.
Sure, but... And I hear you. What's interesting...
The Warriors, obviously, I know it's going back.
Yeah, but what's interesting about that... I think the Warriors are definitely more of that. But the Nuggets also... Like, they drafted Jokic, right? They drafted Murray.
He was like a second-round pick, I think.
They drafted Murray. But other than that, it was KCP. It was Aaron Gordon. It was...
No, I agree. But I think your top guys have to be guys you draft.
But the Sixers already have that. My point is, like...
For how long do they have it with Embiid, though? That's my thing.
Well, but you're also not finding... Most likely, you're not finding a franchise guy where the Sixers are drafted.
They found Maxey at 22.
I know. But I think more likely than not. Like, it gets harder the further away you get.
I agree. It gets harder. I agree with you.
So, it actually is a case to trade the pick for more of a role player guy that can be a definite NBA body. If you just commit to Maxey and Embiid, are your guys?
You're saying trade 16 for like Caruso had he not been traded? Like
sure,
okay.
if they come out, I wouldn't be too disappointed if they come out tomorrow night with a guy who I think is a really really good role player. Because the issue is when you're I love Bruce Brown. I love KCP.
You've always said that.
Like those are my guys.
Yeah,
but you're also now paying them $20+ million a year. If you can get one of those guys before they get paid, like is still viewed as like an undervalued asset, I would be in on it, even though I like the idea of getting another guy that wants to be.
But that's where I think you get these guys at 16. And you're right. One thing that I came away with, a lot of shooters around 16. Man. Right?
Yep.
I don't really care about defense, but there was a few guys.
Dude, no, you need some dogs,
I know. No,
dogs.
that's what I'm saying. I'm going to mispronounce so many names, but there we go. Clap your hands. Also, the only Sixers pod that barks.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard him bark? Never heard him bark.
Yeah,
Very
no.
surprised.
Dogs are barking.
Keyshawn George out of Miami, defensive guy. Like, there are guys out there that
The
I
best
think,
George that can get this offseason.
exactly. That's the George I want. Yeah. But I agree with you. Like, at 16, now I'm looking for a dude at 16.
Yeah, you are.
I am. But I think you can find a guy at 16 that could be what you're looking for, but that is on a rookie salary.
Sure. it just usually takes a little bit longer if you're in a championship window.
So here's an overarching question: are you all in this year? Because the basis of my thing is I am not selling the farm this offseason.
So are you? So all right, off of that, are you drafting a guy to help this team win a championship, or a guy that you think has the highest upside?
I'm drafting a guy at 16 with the highest upside.
Yeah, see, I'm drafting a guy that I think helps this team the most.
I hate that so much.
I understand
That's how you
why
end up with Jalen Reagor, like drafting for a specific need.
What if you just drafted Justin Jefferson?
Well, they didn't because they thought Reagor was a speed guy they needed, and Jefferson didn't fit what they had because they had Ertz in the slot. Like that's what I'm saying. Like I think
Love listening to you talk football.
right.
That's what many people say. Love when you talk ball.
That is what people say. But I think the biggest mistake the Sixers can make this offseason, and we've talked about this, is going all in on trying to win next year. Because you're going to make a bad financial decision. You're going to trade a bunch of draft picks, or you're going to take someone at 16, to your point. Like, who's this dude out of Colorado, the 23-year-old everybody loves?
Oh, De Silva?
Tristan De Silva.
Yeah.
I could not be more out on Tristan De Silva. He looks like a slow Michael Porter Jr.
So he's
and
like
he's old. It's like Danny Watkins old.
he's a mix between he's like Kyle Anderson.
Yeah, it's a good
He's
one.
like Kyle Anderson, who's like ridiculously slow.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you mentioned.
And Kyle Kuzma, kind of.
It's kind of Kuzma.
Is Kyle Anderson not a really good role player?
He is a really good role player.
Yeah, but you're not taking him at 16.
Well, he went top 10, I think.
But was he worth that pick?
Probably not.
All right.
And he took a long. Like, the problem is with again, De Silva's like 23, and he's also not super athletic. I'm not super in on him. Like again, I think he's a competent.
He's at the bottom of my big board.
He's a competent NBA player.
Yeah, and that's not what I'm going for at 16.
Yeah, but if you can get that guy, it does make it easier to insert the next star though too. So like even if you don't believe in Embiid, let's say Kevin Durant becomes available and you can trade for him. You know, having another competent NBA player rather than like we got to develop this guy into, and he might not hit it. I would rather do a safer pick.
Dude, if they have Durant, Maxey, and Embiid, they better not need Tristan De Silva. like that's even more reason to take an Isaiah Collier.
So while you were talking, I did look up Isaiah Collier. I'm in.
Yeah, right.
Kind of like
yeah.
he sort of reminds me.
Glad I talk long enough for you to get all the time.
Well, that's what you do. You just talk too
fill
much.
time. Yeah.
But he reminds me a little bit of Sexton, Colin Sexton.
So he actually, he reminds me of.
Do you agree with that? That comp, James Jackson?
He
Yeah,
doesn't
I didn't
remind-
mind it. I didn't mind it.
Yeah.
So he reminds me of some combination of like.
So hold on, real quick. So we'll get all of our big boards, and then we need the James Jackson take on
Of the big board.
who did a better
boards?
job. Who did?
I'm
job.
assuming you're a big college basketball guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't make a big board, but
That's fine.
That's fine.
That's fine. You can
but
judge
I,
these big boards.
Yeah, I can judge.
But you know what
'cause
these
you do-
guys are.
You do look at us with like these guys.
I
Really,
do give subtle
little
facial
side
cues.
eyes. Little side eyes.
Jack
Alright.
catches them more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't see him, thankfully. But wow, what was it? Oh, here's who Isaiah Collier reminds me of. A combination of like Marcus Smart, James Harden, and Baron Davis.
Probably not as good defensively as Marcus Smart.
No, but I think he has a similar body type. And I think
Baron
like
Davis body type, I give you that one.
right, and I think the
I
reminded me
loved Baron Davis.
He's
my favorite player in the NBA for like a good
dude,
stretch.
the
Very
dunk
likable
for
player.
the dunk he had against the Mavs like all time.
That's good. That's good NBA
like that?
history knowledge.
Yeah,
out
I
of
remember
you.
having
Talking
the-
hoop, man.
Yeah,
I remember
dude.
having the slam poster of that. Yeah.
Where he untucked his jersey afterwards.
Yep. That was what were they called? Like the
We Believe
The We
Warriors.
Believe,
We Believe
Warriors.
Warriors,
Yeah.
yeah.
Jason Richardson was on there. Steven Jackson was on there, right?
Love those
No big
names.
deal to me. I know that team.
Like the back of your hand.
Exactly. So here's my Isaiah Collier thing. I think he will come in and first of all, I think he's a phenomenal passer from what I saw. Like I think he can be what Harden was going to be for the Sixers, only obviously not as good right away. I think he is an excellent dribbler from what I saw. He can control the ball. I think he's a good enough shooter. I know his shooting numbers weren't great, but just eye test watching.
You look at the stroke.
Yeah, like I can tell by the way the ball goes in the basket if a guy can shoot, he can shoot. Like just like the way it lofts in there, it's beautiful. And he can get to the basket. Now my concern with him is he is small, to your point.
He is small.
And he has small arms. So he's 6'3". I didn't realize, by the way, do you know what Maxey's wingspan is?
No.
So Maxey is what? 6'3", something like that. His wingspan is like 6'9".
Yeah.
Like, I knew he had long arms, but I didn't realize it was that disproportionate.
Yeah, you gotta have long arms.
I wonder what my wingspan is compared to my body.
Yeah. You've got pretty long arms.
I actually do think I have long arms.
Yeah, I don't think I have long arms.
I think you have regular arms for your body.
Yeah, well, no, it shows up in my golf game. I think if my arms were 3 inches longer, I think I'm probably on tour.
You're yeah. Or pitching.
Or
Do long arms matter for pitching? I guess maybe it like comes
sometimes.
further off
a
the mouth.
little bit of whippiness.
I didn't realize that you're not allowed to have tattoos on your pitching arm from the shoulder down. I mean the elbow down.
Yeah, you can.
What to
James,
say?
not you. James Seltzer said you couldn't.
There's players have been drafted who have it all up and down.
That's what I was thinking. I didn't push him on it, but
I'm sure you didn't push him on it.
Yeah, I was
he's,
let that one go. But
pretty sure. Yeah, dude.
Seems wrong to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
like
can't
just
have
on the forearm or even on the outside.
I thought he said elbow down on your pitching arm. You can't have tattoos.
No, there's a kid drafted in the first round last year that had a whole sleeve.
He did say
and
you can't wear white sleeves.
You can't wear white sleeves.
Which I think makes some sense.
Because it blends into baseball.
Yes, I get that. I mean,
I'm
it's
actually so proud of you. You said, okay, I agree with that with baseball.
Now it is a soft rule, but I get the logic behind
it. That's the difference.
Well, then it's harder. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, then every pitcher would do it, and no one would be able to hit.
If everyone did it, people would get used to it.
Should the batting background?
Let's not get into this.
Should the batting background be white?
I don't care.
Okay, I know you don't care.
No, I'm saying like I'm okay with it, white or not.
Moving on.
Yes. 215-592. But here's my thing with Isaiah Collier.
Back to Isaiah Collier.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I do agree with the overarching premise that they have a better shot to win the title next year if they have Paul George than Isaiah Collier. Like,
big takes only.
Thank you. I get that, right? So to everybody saying, well, if you don't trade 16, like I understand the desire to go in all in next year. But if you get Isaiah Collier and he ends up being a dude, like you are set. Like him and Maxey for the next however many years could be great together. Like you're getting a guy that was going to be a number one pick. He had a bad year.
He's probably a sixth man.
No, I completely disagree. I think he has a chance to be like an all-star player.
I'm just letting you know, the more and more you talk about Isaiah Collier, the more I'm out.
Yeah, I know.
Like what are your
I have that reaction.
You going this hard on Isaiah Collier is making me nervous.
I think he's a dude.
My question is, isn't this project already Ricky Council though? Like,
Ricky Council though was undrafted and is not a point guard. Like I think the Sixers need is on the perimeter. Ricky Council can't shoot. Like he does go at the basket. Ricky Council also, as we've talked about, I think has like an athletic body, but he's a bit of a tweener. And Isaiah Collier is not like 6'7", but I think Isaiah Collier game one could run point guard. Like I think he could start and run point guard. He's strong. He gets to the basket. He looks to my eyes, like he's like a vet out there, which I think you would appreciate.
Nah, man. Anyone that knows how to play the game.
Yeah.
I want a guy that can move the basketball in a correct way. Can I get my number one guy?
Yeah. I'm curious to see who it is.
My number one guy is Devin Carter.
All right, I didn't watch him, so this works out well.
This is well. I think Devin Carter, he actually
So where did he go to school?
He went to Providence.
Okay.
First off, he had pretty long range. Now, the stroke's ugly, but like if I learn anything from Tyrese Halliburton, like the stroke is whatever.
All right, let me look
but like,
watch the tape. Not many Nova highlights on that.
Not many Nova highlights, but he's he is a grinder defensively. He seems like a dog.
So he looks like Matt Collins.
He does look like Matt Collins.
Just throwing that out there.
He looks a lot like Matt Collins. Never noticed that.
He does look like Matt Collins.
He also looks like Matt Collins combined with Campaign.
Campaign? Who was arrested last week?
Okay.
More dog in Devin Carter than Isaiah Collier.
Yeah, definitely more dog. Mm-hmm. It's like Javon Carter, but he can actually shoot.
I'm not drafting a dog at 16. I can get effort guys.
You're not
I need someone.
man.
If I'm taking a guy in the first round, it is someone that has a chance to be like a dude in the fourth quarter, not someone that's going to be grabbing a loose ball. I can get those guys in the second round. Go ahead though. I'm curious to hear you convince me because I'm pretty out on him.
You watch the tape at all?
Well, all right. So looks like Matt Collins. Don't love that. 6'3", went to Providence. Don't love that.
Providence is a good little hoop school.
All right, 37% on 7 threes a game. I like that. I'm starting to be convinced a little more.
That's actually shooting threes, unlike Brandon Ingram, who shoots 2.5 a game.
Yeah.
Also,
all right.
Providence played in just way more high leverage games than USC. Like, you saw Devin Carter bring games home for Providence that Isaiah Collier just never had the opportunity to do at USC.
It's clear you know way more about college basketball.
I mean, it's just the opportunity. Like, the pause I have with Isaiah Collier is USC never did not play. They played like maybe 2 meaningful games.
I agree. They had it down here.
It was just bad.
Yeah, Pac-12's bad.
It was terrible.
Well, it's like the dude.
And they stunk. Like USC was really bad.
Well, who's that Ron Hollins guy that lost like every single game in the G League? Like I agree that
he went in like number one.
That's what I'm saying. And Isaiah Collier is the same way. So I get your point, and I do think it is very up my alley to say USC wasn't very good and they had a down year. But I'm not holding that against him enough where I wouldn't take it.
Sure.
But it's an interesting
point.
point.
I am giving Devin Carter that badge right now over Isaiah Collier.
Well,
you want a guy that can come in. You want to talk about a guy you can give the ball to in the fourth quarter. Devin Carter showed me he could do that.
And he's not afraid.
Isaiah Collier didn't show
in watching the games, he's not afraid.
He didn't hit it against Nova, but he showed me.
Right.
So when you're saying he's got dog in him, not like an effort dog.
No. I'm talking about I'm not afraid of the moment.
And he wants to take over a
game.
game.
Yes. Ice in the vein.
But he also has I think defensively he can guard 1 and 2.
He will dive on the floor though. Like he does. Also
I'm not against diving on the floor. It just can't be the number one quality.
100%. I agree that.
When I was watching Devin Carter, and this is how I evaluate every single NBA prospect, I say he looks like a Celtic.
I could actually see him. I could see him as
like a Celtic with like
or an Eagles wide receiver.
Sure, but like from the standpoint of that's a guy Celtics would draft, and he would be a pest.
Peyton Pritchard-esque. Yeah.
Who was a guy the Celtics?
Peyton Pritchard. I can't stand Peyton Pritchard.
He's a person you'd love to have on your team.
And they drafted him, by the way.
Who?
Peyton Pritchard.
Yes, I know. I know. All right. Who else is on your big board?
Okay, number 2 for me, Bub Carrington out of Pitt. I think this dude
high upside.
Is
Very
a
high
straight
upside.
up dude. All right, so
upside.
I do like. I'm just gonna start watching your guys as you keep talking.
that's perfect. Yeah,
this is good.
So we said we only needed a minute. So 6'4". I think he looks taller than that. Like his wingspan must be longer than 6'4". And shot 6 threes a game, which I really like. Didn't shoot a great percentage, but to me, when I watched the shot, it looked good. Like to what James was saying, I think he's a ton of upside. I also think when I just watched him, like he attacks a basket, he shoots threes. Like I said, long arms. He looks like somebody that I could picture being an elite wing in the NBA. I agree the shot needs to be better, but he's got the confidence. I think he plays like when I watched the way he played, he looked like a wing to me. But again, the bad shooting is an issue. He turned the ball over quite a bit. He kind of reminded me of like how I pictured Turk Smith in my head. Like Turk Smith to me was someone that I think will come in, shoot a bunch, but I think he's just bigger than Turk Smith. And I love the irrational confidence. That's one thing you'll hear a lot when I talk about these guys. I frankly don't really care if they make the shot as much. I just love guys that, that are down to take big shots.
Well, I like that he's 18.
He's 18.
Like he's gonna be young at the draft. He's not gonna like. There's still some upside.
Well,
there.
that's the other thing. That other dude, De Silva's like.
Yeah, he's like 90.
Yeah, he's like 35 or whatever.
I do like that he's a mid-range boy. I want to bring back the mid-range.
Heavy on the mid-range.
So you know who he actually reminded me of a little?
Kevin Durant?
No, he reminded me of Brandon Ingram.
Sure.
I can see that.
Yeah. So he's number 2 on my big board.
Interesting. All right.
I hope I know the guy. You're number 2.
I'm pretty much in.
Okay.
So number 2 on my big board is Jalen Dyson.
Didn't watch him, so this works out great.
I actually think he's the most Eliot player that I looked at.
You know what's funny? I think people might
We are 0 for 4.
People might listen and be like, wow, they must have planned this. Like, nope.
Not at all.
I don't even know how you spell his last name.
Actually, I think
Dyson.
people appreciate the names that you guys are bringing out 1, 2, and 3. Like very.
Thank you.
Very unique names.
How do you spell his last name?
Dyson. He's actually, I think, the guy that you would love the most out of my guys. He's explosive. 6'4".
I think I'm
California.
spelling his first name wrong.
Jaylin. Jaylon. Not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, it's not Jalen Hurts.
And then whatever. Go ahead.
Dyson, dude. It's not that hard to spell
I don't know what
Dyson.
to tell you.
How do you think you spell Dyson? Why are you on Google? Get on Twitter.
Jalen Dyson.
Jalen Dyson.
Okay, go ahead about him. I'm getting I'm getting some football player.
Oh, dude, hold on. I definitely got the wrong name.
yeah. I was gonna say Jalen Williams.
Nah, dude. Hold on. This is good.
I actually have no idea who you're.
Yeah, hold on.
Did you watch someone that's not in the draft?
Jalen Tyson.
Tyson. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised it didn't autocorrect.
No, that's definitely on the
Good news. I didn't watch him either. So
Jalen Tyson. No, but he's explosive.
out of California. Looks
Yeah,
like.
6'4", explosive to the rim. I like guys that have like a rational want to dunk on you confidence.
How big is he?
Oh, he's 6'6", 21.
Okay. He doesn't look 6'6" in the pictures, but
He does look a little bit shorter than 6'6".
Yeah.
But I think he's crafty. I think he's a smart NBA player, and I think day one can play for you. Like he's kind of like Ricky Council already.
All right.
But hopefully a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much of an opinion on him based off a minute ago. I thought his name was Dyson, and he played football. All right.
Jalen Tyson.
All right, so the number 3 on my big board, and like in all seriousness for a second. So Terrence Shannon Jr.
Now we're being serious.
Yes. So Terrence Shannon Jr. is an interesting prospect. Obviously, he had the off the field issue. He was accused of sexual assault. He was found innocent. I completely understand if he's somebody people don't want to draft. The Sixers will have to make that decision. If he didn't do it, then I don't think he should be held to get like all those things. But purely as a player, I think this guy could be the steal of the draft. Like Isaiah Collier is number 1, but if you told me in 3 years Terrence Shannon Jr. was the best player from the draft, I would believe you. Let me pull up my notes on him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, right. So he averaged 23 points, which is a ton for college. Is absurd for college. 36% on almost 7 threes a game. 6'7", 219 pounds. So he's tall and big already. A lot of his highlights, he's backing guys down. He can get to the basket. He shoots. Like, he just looked to me, again, like when I watched him, I was like, this is the dude the Sixers need. So you have to make the off the field, off the court thing like that. I don't know anything about it. That's up to Morey. But strictly as a player, and especially at number 16, like I think he, you know, could have been a number one type of talent in the draft. So
yeah, he's obviously a really good player, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think big board wise, it would make sense, especially at that spot. I'm gonna go with Dalton Connect as my third guy.
Okay.
Come on, man. Tennessee ball.
Now
I viewed him as
some common ground.
Yeah.
So I actually viewed him as someone that was going to go way too high for the Sixers to take him.
Probably. He probably goes.
Okay.
He probably goes like 10 to 15 range.
All right, so I'm curious what you think of him then, because I didn't watch him because I didn't think he'd go.
Well, because I think you talk about a bucket boy. You know, he was that in the SEC Player of the Year,
Right.
And like just again, he's got like the kind of FU attitude that I kind of wish the Sixers had. And
Is there an NBA player you'd compare him to?
I don't know, like
Getting a lot of Gordon Hayward comps.
Little Haywardish.
Don't love that.
Well, I mean, Gordon Hayward.
Gordon Hayward.
Why?
He was a nice
Great
player, but it's just not what I'm looking for in the draft.
If you get Gordon Hayward in the draft,
Yeah.
you're doing
Yes,
pretty well.
I agree with that. But Gordon Hayward's
If you
like
put prime Gordon Hayward next to Maxey and Embiid, you're winning a title.
okay.
I love it.
I think
going
Gor-
somewhere for sure.
But I think Gordon Hayward's like an elite role player. Like he is like
Okay.
a third. Yeah. Well,
That's what
you
they
asked
need.
at the well, but
All the Celtics were elite role
but you asked me
players.
at the beginning of the pod what I'm looking for. I'm looking for someone that can be the best. That I think can be the best player in a championship.
Well, you
team.
get two redundant players with Collier and Maxey. Who you defending?
Dude, they have 3 players on the
are
roster.
you
I don't
defending?
care. You have the
Defenses.
best defensive center in the league, arguably, other than Gobert. So like, and you can sign role players that can play defense.
Okay.
I'm not worried about fit with this draft pick,
Oh.
other than I'm not taking a center because that's silly.
Yeah. Not even waste my time.
All right, so I had a deep, dark thought, and I don't think it's going to happen, but I need to get it out there. Do you think there's any shot Morey would take Zach Edey at 16?
Yeah.
I do too.
He's horrible. Like, I would never do it, but sure.
I think the rationale would be like, this guy was arguably the best player in college basketball.
Well, I think the
last year.
rationale would be actually a lot like when the Eagles drafted Hurts. We needed insurance.
Yeah, I would hate that, obviously. But
Obviously,
yeah.
yes.
And I would hate for Zach Edey to be the insurance.
Yeah, he stinks, dude.
I think he's a career, like, borderline starter.
Like, again, Luke Garza, like, dominated Iowa.
Dude, could you imagine if they
saying.
drafted?
That's what
Can
I'm
you
saying.
imagine if they drafted Zach Edey and Embiid demanded a trade?
Dude, it'd be awful.
Yeah.
It'd be enough to say no.
I would not be surprised if we watch Zach Edey like slide to wherever. Like,
Well, that's what I'm saying. So if he, like,
Dude,
I
Kevin
don't think
O'Connor-
he slides to 16, but at 16, you could argue he's starting to
I think
become
he slides
good value.
past that. Like
I think he could too.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think he could slide out the first.
KOC had
Nah,
him. KOC had him at 12 to like the Thunder. It's like 12.
Yeah.
I've seen him all over the place.
It's crazy.
I've seen him end of the first round. Like
I
in
think
some,
he's a
Although
second-round pick.
he is someone, I think, like if you're the Thunder,
You think he's Steven
you have
Adams?
so many people already that maybe he makes sense. Because I think Zach Edey will come in next year and be a good NBA player.
dude, he screams to me, Luka Garza, Tyler Hansbrough. Like
They're too slow.
He's
slow,
way bigger
dominant
than
guards.
he's way bigger than him.
Wait,
Way
wait,
bigger
he's
than-
bigger than
but he
Hansbrough.
didn't do anything. Like
But I think he's a big enough body that like he would help the Thunder out next year. Like I could picture him
But big
starting
enough
every
body
game.
that might get played off the floor in a lot of
Maybe.
sequences.
Again, I don't
Like,
like
the Thunder are an explosive young team. Like,
but I think he
yeah,
needs
he's
to.
too fast for Zach Edey.
I don't disagree with that, but I think he's someone that you put on a good roster as opposed to someone you draft as a building block. So if you're the Thunder and you have the 12th pick, I could envision a world where he's a helpful player for them.
did I go or did you go? I think I did Dalton Connect. So you're right.
Yeah, okay. Keyshawn George out of Miami. I had him down, to be clear, I'm out of my dude thing now. Now I'm at potential dude. So I think he was slow for sure. Like when I watched him, he was very methodical. He reminded me of Brandon Ingram a little bit as well. So he only averaged 7.5 points, which I don't love, but he shot 41% on 4.5 threes. I like the shot looked insane to me. Again, 6'8", 209 pounds, only 20. I don't think he can create his own shot, which is my worry. When I watched him, a lot of his highlights were just wide open threes, but he hit like almost all of them. He seems like a very willing shooter. Obviously, he hit all of them. They were his highlights. So he shot 100%.
Nah, this dude stinks.
Nah, I'm
Yeah,
telling
he
you, man.
stinks,
I'm
dude.
telling you.
He stinks.
So I think he's a 3-and-D guy right
There's
away.
no D. There's no
Are
D.
you
You
wa-
can't move.
Dude, half his highlights were blocks
He
and like
can't-
deflections.
That's different than D.
I think he would step on the Sixers and be Matisse Thybulle already.
Dude, he can't move.
Right away, better
He can't
though.
move. He can't
I
move.
disagree with that.
Horrible take.
Okay, I disagree with that. You should watch him play and then tell me what you think.
I just watched him play.
You watched a video or you looked at pictures?
I watched a video. I don't look at pictures.
Well, I'm just saying,
You're the one
there was
looking
no
up-
audio. I don't know.
Why do I need the audio? I'm looking at a video.
All right, I'm just
To break down,
It was like
you're the one
4
looking up.
seconds.
You're the one looking at their Google image.
Well, just I gotta see if they look like Matt Collins.
What are you talking about? Nah, you can't move.
I said he looked slow for what it's
Thank
worth.
you.
To be clear,
I agree with you.
But I think he's a great shooter, and I think he's long enough that he can be a good.
I'd rather have Tristan de Silva.
No, dude, Tristan de Silva is old. Like in 2 years, he'll be 25. That's absurd.
All right.
All right. So anyway, that was my potential dude guy, just because I think he's a big, long body that can.
No, dude. There's no dude there.
Okay.
Next guy, the next guy I'm going with Tyler Kolek from Marquette.
All right. So he was at the bottom of my big board as well. So here's what I wrote. Go ahead. Go ahead.
You squint, you see Jalen Brunson.
Okay. So I actually think if you don't squint and you have 20/20 vision, I just see TJ McConnell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
Very good comp.
like,
he can shoot.
I hate to
Good
do
comp.
like the obvious comp, but like that's
can shoot.
Literally, he can shoot. I agree. He's TJ McConnell.
Dude,
who
he's
can shoot.
Goran Dragic. I'm just letting you know, he's Goran Dragic.
That actually might be the best. That actually might be the spot on, dead
Thank
on
you.
comp. Right?
Thank
So while I agree, so I think
Crafty, moves the basketball,
Lefty, yeah.
smart.
I think he's an NBA player. I think he's a helpful NBA good
Yes.
player. My only thing
He's a
is
Heat, dude. The Heat draft that guy, and he turns into a
I
killer.
agree with you. And if we're going what you're going for, which is someone that'll just help the team,
That's all I want.
yeah, then I think I could picture him next year being a very helpful player. So I agree
Yes.
with you on that. I just think his upside is,
Dude, he's a
or
Celtic.
sixth
He's
guy.
a Heat.
yeah, no, I like him. I just
Draft like them.
I know you don't want to draft for this purpose, but if you want to fulfill the campaign role, Tyler Kolek can give you that.
Yeah.
I agree.
Is
With
it a lefty?
Yeah, he got his lefty too.
Because
He's
he's
just
a
not a dude. Like he's like a
Yeah, I don't
nice
need
player.
dudes. I want guys.
Nah,
Okay.
he's got a dog in him. Unfortunate.
Yeah, a
thing.
dog, not a dude though.
Not a dude.
Yeah,
I forgot
This-
the fine
this
line.
podcast-
Yeah, I forgot
yeah.
the fine line.
This podcast is
dog or
ridiculous.
dude. The
Dog or
2024 NBA draft.
That's the title right there.
Looking for dogs and
Dog
dudes.
or dude.
dog. Yeah, exactly.
Looking for dogs and dudes.
All right, I'm up. So I'm
Yeah.
curious to know if you watched him. I'd be pretty surprised if you didn't. But did you watch Rob Dillingham out of Kentucky?
Nah, the name I was just immediately out on.
No.
Yeah, that's exactly where I was going to go with it. So he's a guard out of Kentucky,
That's
really
gonna
quick,
fall,
can
that's-
shoot.
yes.
Yeah, like he's basically Maxey. So my concern with him is just, while I don't care about fit, and I would take him at 16, I would take other guys over him, obviously, but he might just be super redundant to Maxey. Like they're the exact same player when I looked at him. I kind of envision him.
Ooh, no, he's kind of like Quickly.
So I was going to say Bones Highland.
Ooh, that's a good comp.
All,
Yeah.
all the same prototype.
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
now, I think Maxey emerged from that prototype. Like Maxey was that guy. In fact, when we started this pod, that's who I envisioned him as. He emerged from that. So Rob Dillingham would have to become more than that. But at 16, he's literally just another shot at Maxey. So I like him a lot. I have him down as a potential dude / Maxey.
Yeah, well, I like first of all, he's quick.
He's small though. That's another thing. Like he's
Yeah, but dude, like again, I know you're looking for dudes. I'm looking for guys.
right. The
And
difference between us.
I like he's someone who I could see coming off the bench and like
I agree.
scoring 15 in a playoff.
100%. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, so I'm in on him. Not like super in. Like 16
I like
feels like a
him.
reach for again. He is 6 man. That's like you hope he's a 6 man.
I just think Kaishan George to me has a more NBA body than
Yeah, but also he can't move.
well, that's the risk.
Just letting you know
Right.
he can't move.
Yeah. Okay.
This guy, I don't love his offense, but if you're looking for like a Thibault that
Well, I'm already so out on
I
this
know,
guy.
I know. But if you're looking for a Thibault that can shoot, Ryan Dunn from Virginia.
Okay,
Did you watch him at all?
Of course not.
He
If his calling card, here's how I found guys. I looked up who could shoot and how tall they were, and I went from there.
Yeah, well, Ryan Dunn can shoot. He's probably one of the best defensive.
Oh, the Virginia guy.
Yeah, one of the best defensive wings in the country. So again, I'm looking for guys that can help from day one, and I think he can do that.
And you want to like a good perimeter defensive
Yes.
wing. Like Virginia is a factory.
Like you need someone that can stop Tatum, right?
Okay, so he shot 20% from 3, and he shot 1 per game.
Stroke looked all right though.
Yeah, okay, I mean,
It's a little slow. It was a slow stroke, but the stroke looked all
the
right.
player I always think of where like college stats don't matter is Kyrie Irving. Like I think he averaged like 11 points a game.
He also got like
Played
he's-
11
he barely
games,
played. No,
yeah.
I know, but the college stats are kind of silly to look at sometimes.
Michael Porter Jr. also.
yes.
Yeah. All right. I mean, I don't really care about this guy, but
know.
if you like him,
Sorry.
sure. All right.
happy,
We've
I'm
reached that
happy.
point. in the
Yeah.
draft.
I'm happy. I'm happy.
All right. So I think this is the last legit guy we have to have an opinion on. Jared McCain out of Duke.
I know, dude. So like,
So torn.
I know because the TikToks are kind of
And he paints
cringeworthy.
his I mean,
I'm in on all that.
you're in on
I know you are a TikTok guy.
I'm actually not a TikTok guy, but I'm in on like the painting of the nails, which I don't do. I'm not brave enough to do it, but I do like it in an app.
I'm not in on the TikTok thing.
He's
So what's it take? He just makes TikToks? I assume?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's
He's a content
progressing
guy.
to what like Embiid and Maxey are trying to do with the grow up and be.
All right. I'm.
Like,
but he can really shoot. That's the thing. Like,
Yeah. Okay.
he's good. He's very like sound, very fundamental player. Like
Again,
very
looks-
good player.
looks like the guy the Celtics would draft.
So here's my McCain take. I think he would come into the NBA next year and on the Sixers. Obviously Maxey is one of the best 3-point shooters in the league, but he would be very helpful in the Sixers. Like you put him and Maxey around Embiid if Embiid's playing and trying, and like I think he would be really helpful.
He just doesn't look like a NBA starter to me.
So this is my concern with him. He looks small to me. I don't think he can do basically anything but shoot. I think he's like an okay passer, but his assist numbers aren't great. So I think he's a really good role player. I think he would like maybe start on Charlotte for like 4 years, but I don't think he'll ever start on a great team.
Yeah, I don't. Again, I like the idea of getting a shooter, but I also would like a little bit of upside, and I feel like he's just a really good shooter.
Yeah,
and
that's how I feel about it. Right?
But
And
I
he's
don't,
small too.
But I don't think he's explosive enough to be like a dynamic 6-man like Dillingham is.
Yep.
So I'd be okay with the pick. I wouldn't love the pick.
The last player I do have an opinion on I want to share. Did you watch Johnny Murphy out of Kansas?
No. Did we watch any players?
I honestly don't think we watched anything, which works out great. But good thing we didn't plan or text about this. Do you have a Johnny Murphy opinion?
I want to hear your Johnny Murphy opinion.
So I think he looks to me like a better version of what everyone thought Dario Saric was going to be. Like 6'9", I think he's way more athletic. He can run the floor. He can definitely shoot. I think he has a little bit of dude potential. I think he's more on the dude side than the dog side. And so I'm in on him. I don't think he could be a top 2 player on a great team, but I could definitely picture him being like 3B on a great team.
And how next year? Like coming.
I think
into
he
the
can
NBA
already
and do that,
shoot, and he's
or-
tall and athletic, so I think he could contribute next year. But it wouldn't shock me if in 2 or 3 years we're watching him make big shots in the playoffs. He's not like winning the game for you, but he's making 3 plays in that game that are helping you win.
100%. I see him as a guy who like he plays like a Cody Martin role at his best, where like being maybe not 3B. He's
I
never
think
going to be
he's
on
way
the scouting
bigger
board.
than Cody Martin. if I'm not
Right.
mistaken.
But
Yeah.
that role of like when his name is called upon in
Yeah.
the playoffs, when his name is called upon down the stretch, he does what he needs to do. He hits big shots. He comes up big for his team. But over the course of a whole season, like I have a tough time seeing him be the third best player on a good team. Like maybe he's the third best player on.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think his length, his athleticism, and his shooting are very intriguing. You good with that?
I'm good with that.
Nice.
Well, you have any opinion? Did you look him?
No,
up?
I couldn't find him.
That's fine.
And we reached the point of the draft where I can't break it down.
Can't get
The only last name that I want to bring up is like this guy would not be super in on 16, but like this is more a second round guy. He might be there. He might not be there.
Bronny. Anyone heard
No,
of him? Yeah.
I was waiting for one of you guys.
I have a
Nah.
Bronny take when we're done.
But Baylor Shireman.
Okay, didn't watch him.
Why, what's up with you guys? What's up with the Big East guys, man?
Well, listen, it's only to attack you.
I would love to see.
He
how,
might be. He's by the way. He's Joe Ingles.
I would
He's
love
the
to
next
see
Joe
how
Ingles.
you
Luke
found
Kennard,
these guys.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Except taller than Kennard.
All right.
But look, he's like.
Do you want to try to spell his name for me quickly? I'll look up.
SCHEIE.
Okay, his name is SCHE.
IERMAN.
Okay, this is dynamite podcasting.
This is the highest level.
Correct me if I'm wrong. He won the like best small forward.
I think
in the
so.
Country in the
Yeah.
college basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah, good player.
Come on, Creighton was good. He
Yeah.
shoots a lot of threes. He's lefty. Comes down and jacks threes.
This
Was
guy.
all- yeah.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, and he's like 80 years old as well.
Okay,
But
I'm gonna.
watch him when you get home.
Okay, I will.
It'll be dynamic.
Think he's gonna go more in the dog category if I.
What's your Bronny take?
I think Bronny's underrated. I think we've gone too far with saying he's only getting drafted because of his dad. He's only like, dude, I watch highlights of him. He's athletic. He can shoot. I think he's smart. I think it's an advantage that his dad is LeBron. Like, I think he will be an elite role player in the NBA. Now, he is small for sure. Like 6'1", doesn't have super long arms. Like, that is a concern. But I think, like, when I watch him, I was surprised at how impactful he was and how more athletic than I expected him to be. So I would definitely.
And he's coming off the heart condition.
And that's the other thing that everyone rips him for his freshman year. He like had a heart attack
Yes.
basically. Like that's got to be super.
Apparently,
hard.
he was like really
I know.
really close to like.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Not
saying.
making it.
So,
Yeah,
and I understand the people that are saying, well, he's only getting this chance because of LeBron, and that's a whole different discussion. But you can't deny that having LeBron James as your dad is going to help you be a more professional athlete. Like he will have LeBron in his corner advising him. So I would definitely be interested in Bronny as an and I bet you 10 years from now, Bronny will be in the league, barring like an injury.
Maybe. We'll see. He's a little small.
I think being LeBron's son has helped him and hurt him because it's not allowed people to evaluate LeBron James Jr. just the talent. Of
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Right.
If his name wasn't Bronny James, if he wasn't LeBron's son, people would be like, well, this is a very good late first round, early second round
agree.
steal that no one else would have any other way of looking at it
Right.
other than that.
Totally agree. All right, before we get out of here, James Jackson, who did better, me or Eliot?
I think it's pretty obvious.
All right, I need the big boards again because I'm forgetting a lot of names I did not anticipate.
I mean, dude, I was gonna say. So I spent like probably 5 hours on this over the last 2 days, and I didn't even hear half the players. Jack.
Well,
all right.
Good.
So here's my top 5: Isaiah Collier, Bub Carrington, Terrence Shannon Jr., Keyshawn George, and Rob Dillingham.
And this is for the Sixers. This is overall.
For the
This
Sixers.
is for the Sixers.
Just for
But
the
to be clear, I think Isaiah Collier is the best player in the draft.
Right. Go ahead.
Devin Carter, Jalen Tyson, Dalton Connect, Tyler Kolek, Ryan Dunn.
Will you agree that my 5 is smashing his 5?
And just overall,
Like in a game, if my 5 played his 5.
yeah, he's fine.
Oh yeah, but I'm looking for role players.
He's looking for.
Yeah, the lists are very different. You are very much guys that'll average like 8 points, 4 rebounds.
Yes, what isn't a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing.
I'm gonna give Eliot's big board a little bit, but
I'll have better NBA players.
where
You have
Jack
way
is
more bucks.
and where you're going, like the need you want to fill for the Sixers,
Thank you.
very good draft board. I like the Devin Carter pick. I really do like.
He's the best player of both our lists. He's the only one that's gonna be
All right,
good.
well,
Isaiah Collier might have.
Are you
the highest
team?
upside of anyone else.
I have a question. After doing all this draft prep,
All of
are you more team keep the pick or trade the pick?
Always keep the pick.
I think so too.
I'm still team trade the pick.
For who?
I mean, you know I still want Jimmy.
Oh.
You know I still.
Here's a question: If the Clippers,
I don't
if,
think they can do that on draft night.
if Paul George opts in, and the only way you can get him is by trading number 16, and you pay him the super max or whatever the most you can pay him, would you do it?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
It's one pick.
So then you're not in team. Keep the pick.
I
Well,
just
but he
that could
had a chance
very
to
much
get Paul
happen.
George.
yeah, I
very much
just don't love the idea of trading for like some 35-year-old that'll be gone in 2 years and like emptying the farm for him.
Emptying the farm is
In 2 years, if this thing
But a
doesn't work,
$200+ million deal.
But that's not emptying the farm.
But it's filling up all the cap space.
Okay, that's
You're
it.
maxed out. Excuse me. Basically,
You keep burping in the
I know,
microphone.
I know.
Burp like 3 times in
I
30
know.
seconds.
Well, I tried to stop the first 2.
and then
Yeah. Embiid, Maxey, and Paul George are basically everything you have for the next 3 years. And Embiid and the other old guy they trade for could be completely cooked in
Listen,
here.
I know you're Isaiah Colliered up. All right,
I am.
I know. I got it.
Yeah.
I got it.
I think he's going to be a stud.
Still, he's not going to be Paul. I'll pay you $100 if he ever turns out to be Paul George.
Okay.
Even 35-year-old Paul George.
I don't think he'll have as good of a career as Paul George.
That's good.
That'd be pretty hard to do. I agree
Yeah,
with
it's
you.
good.
But I think the Sixers window with Isaiah Collier and Tyrese Maxey could be much longer than going all in on 1 year with 2 really old injury-prone guys.
Are we doing a podcast tomorrow night or Thursday?
Oh, we'll see what happens.
All right.
I mean, I'm down for tomorrow night.
I know.
I mean, if they pick Isaiah Collier,
it feels like it's
emergency.
gonna
pod.
have to do emergency.
Yeah, or if they trade for somebody.
Devin Carter, baby. Devin Carter.
Do you
Bring the
think-
boy home.
Do you think Daryl Morey gets active on draft night?
Yes. Well, I'll say this. Actually, no. I think he's going to try, but I don't think they're going to trade for anybody.
No, but that's still getting active. Like he's not.
trying?
Yeah, I think he'll participate. I think he's going to watch. Yeah.
No. I mean, try to move the pick. Try to.
Yeah.
I just hope someone leaks the draft board again. That's all I look for.
Me too.
I don't know.
They actually lucked out last year with the draft board not being that.
There's no one on it.
Yeah, but like, imagine if this year they had like, no Jimmy, like pro Paul.
Yeah.
Like,
Hey, Paul. Hashtag pay
yeah,
Paul.
that would be amazing.
All right. Well, we'll be back tomorrow night, probably, because it should be a festive night for the Sixers.
Yeah,
and I can't believe the second round starts at 4:00 on Thursday.
Dude, this is the most excited I've been for a draft in years.
Because you looked up one Isaiah Collier film?
No, I just feel like the Sixers never have a pick. They're not going to take anyone. Like, this is the Sixers basketball I love, not giving Jimmy Butler up for 3 picks and $400 million.
You better come to terms with that, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to hate it.
Come to
I'll
I'll
terms
talk
with
myself into it, but I'm going to hate it.
You're going to love it the second they do it. All right. For Eliot, Shorr-Parks, James Jackson, and Jack Frtitz, this has been another edition of Clap Your Hands, as always, presented by Coors Light.